very lucky, and a big thank you to everyone that's helped us out.
Absolutely.
And so I'm sitting pretty, and I do have an Amiga 600. And by the way, I've offered to. In fact, I thought Bo was just going to take it. In fact, I think you did have the 600 briefly.
I had it for a while, and then I realized what we're talking about. It's like I've got the 600, it's working, but it's not PAL, and so I'm not going to be.
And that's the other problem is that when you especially when you're trying to do some sort of production, it's a real difficult issue when you're trying to get everything to work out right. I promised Boat after the last Amigathon that by next year I would have an Amiga that could play everything and that we could output consistently to video.
Right.
And so that's my plan. But I think if you had if you had a system like that, you would be less likely to have trouble. It's just, and anyone that is in the States knows this computer wasn't made for us. I mean, effectively, all the software is European, and I still have trouble with it to this day. Even in emulation, it's a hassle sometimes, and so it's a thing you have to deal with. The Amiga, just by its nature, emulating it is a hassle too. To be honest, I mean it works, but when you're trying to stream with stuff like WinUAE or
it doesn't play well with the software.
It doesn't work well with the stream stuff. I mean you can do it, but it's not easier, to do. Really, stuff like the company or what's the other emulator you use?
FSUAE.
Those are a little more tolerant of streaming,
but it's still not great.
So I guess to answer for Boat, I think he would have I think he would be more fond of the system if he had not had so many bad experiences with actually getting one up to use on his own, because he loves the Spectrum, and it was the Spectrum once he got this new monitor, which we didn't have back in the day.
Yeah, right.
If we'd
now
had this, we'd been laughing.
We've got a PAL monitor, so I can play it on a CRT. It's the right aspect ratio. Everything's ready. Conditions are perfect.
Yeah. And
it's Tuesday night. Conditions are perfect.
If Jason can have any luck with the 600, or I've got some stuff working on mine, which I haven't told you about, but hopefully we'll have something that you could play consistently on with a hard drive and everything.
Right.
You don't have to worry.
Right.
But my problem is I've got a 600 that works, but no, I can't get any memory expansions to work on the expansion slot. So they're old.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Duncan and/or Packbilly, for writing in. We appreciate it, and you can always send us a question either on Discord or you can just send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com.
I use some of that applications like word processor stuff back in the day. They work great.
Yeah.
When you come out of DOS, this was way better. Now, Boat comes from a Mac background. It may not be as impressive for you.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Amiga handles things like font scaling and stuff that the Apple really shined at, and maybe the Amiga does too. I'm looking forward to doing some comparisons, and maybe I'll break out the Mac Plus and we'll do some side-by-side stuff too. So
neat. Good idea, Boat.
Yeah. Aaron, it's been a while. Since I...
Go ahead.
Since I discussed Patreon and all its benefits. If you like the show and you listen to us every week, you can support the show easily with just $1 a month. You get all kinds of benefits. You get access to our Discord server. Where we talk all the time. You get access to really cool, like when Aaron runs across random bundles of Amiga software, all that stuff gets first dibs to the Discord.
Let's face facts. The Discord people are all more cool and interesting than I am.
Oh yeah.
That much said, you have access to all them as well, not just me and you.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it's such a great community. I know that we're planning a big get-together for Amiga Ireland this year. The Norway Amiga group is well represented on the Discord, so it's a great way to meet people and really get to know them. These days with social media, there's all kinds of groups. There's all kinds of Amiga groups. There's all kinds of Amiga forums, but they don't foster the same sense of community as forums did back in the day. And this is sort of bringing it back because it is a limited group of people, and it is chat in real time. So it's it feels different and it feels better.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone fight about anything ever.
No.
Everyone is super duper friendly.
They are.
And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I'm serious.
They're very, very nice folks.
I'm the most unfriendly one because I'll fight occasionally. I just start fights. But.
Yeah. So anyway, and of course, if you want to go beyond and give us $1 an episode at $4 a month, you get your name in the Patreon supporter song and on the official Amigos supporters shirt. So as
this fall.
Well, no, there's one right now.
But I mean the new one.
And the new one is coming in 2020 because I do a different one every year.
That's sort of like the fall.
Yeah.
The fall of the year.
What you can do is you can get on board now, get the 2019 shirt and get the 2020 shirt.
What we should do is the 2019 ones. If anyone adds in, we should just get one of those gold pins.
That's true. Just write it in there. There's also awesome swag you can get if you are a Amigos supporter for more than 4 months, which means by December, which means you got to get on board in August. You get a official Amigos supporters magnet for the year.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Also from Jonas, they're awesome.
And of course, the ultimate honor is to be a member of the Amigos Game Selection Committee and actually help choose the games that we play every week. That's run by our commissioner, Pixels at Dawn. Every week there is a discussion and vote on what game we should play that week. So,
we need you.
Yeah.
Come in.
Yeah.
They would love to have some fresh voices, I'm sure.
We need some as many perspectives as we can. There, you might have a favorite game that we've never heard of, and we'd love to dig into.
And eventually, it will probably get picked.
Yeah.
So I mean, if there's a game you're like, man, why don't these jerks cover,
blah blah blah,
Mr. Nuts or whatever, which you'll probably get it on. If it's something you're dying to hear, there you go.
Yeah. And of course, you also get the official Amigos Game Selection Committee magnet in December, sort of a Christmas present for all your efforts. But the real stars of the show. The real best thing about this thing is getting mentioned in the supporter song.
Oh, man.
Last week's supporter song was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Did you ever hear his version of that?
Did Elton John really do it?
He at the Freddie Mercury tribute show.
Oh, him and Axl. I forgot about that.
That was an abomination. That whole show was hideous. Except for basically, there were 3 things about that show that were tolerable.
Didn't Bowie recite the Lord's Prayer?
David Bowie and Annie Lennox did it Under Pressure.
Mm-hmm. Which Bowie was featured on the real song.
And George Michael came out and blew everyone away with Somebody to Love. I mean, and this guy was that.
Well, he's got pipes, George Michael.
He did. Of course, but this and that's a sad thing.
Yeah.
Of course, Bowie's got to. George, and I was never a huge George Michael. I liked him.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was the man. He had a set of pipes. You're not kidding, buddy. And I've got a couple of his albums actually. I mean, and he started off that Wham stuff that's real.
It's kind of poppy.
It's beneath him.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy should have been a much bigger deal in the States. We knew him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how big he was in
huge.
I'm assuming
Huge.
But I mean, this guy was, and he came out on stage and went to work. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, that show was just absolute dreck. It was horrible. I watched it live. Carry on.
So we have some winners here. We've got Edvin Helland, and welcome home, Edvin. Edvin just returned from his mandatory Norwegian 5-week vacation.
I wonder how that was compared to your trip to Delaware.
Oh, well, it's. I saw all I can say is Edwin was like, "Yeah, I'm here camping. I'm getting ready to go over to the lodge where there's beer. There was no beer or lodge in Delaware.
Beer and for like relaxation banned in Delaware.
Yeah, absolutely. Pixels at Dawn got this one right. Gary Heather, Jason Warrens, and Pack Billy. Pack Billy wrote in with a little trivia. 2 weeks ago I did that Sixpence None the Richer song.
Yeah.
And he said,
Kiss Me? Is that what you did?
Yeah, Kiss Me.
Yeah.
He says, I actually have a connection to Sixpence None the Richer founder and author of Kiss Me, Matt Slocum.
Yeah.
He plays cello for the Nashville-based post-rock band whose manager I do a lot of work for.
Wait a minute, a dude wrote Kiss Me?
Yeah.
That really changes the tone of that song.
Oh, you can't. You got to change your whole daydream situation there.
Shot that, yeah. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, and he's not done. We were talking about Woody Allen last episode.
Yeah.
He said, I also have something of connection to Woody Allen. I know his ex-sister-in-law, Prudence, Mia's sister and the subject of the Beatles' Dear Prudence. She was very nearly my landlord.
Wow.
I actually drove down last summer to feed their cats while they were visiting relatives out west.
Who is this?
This is Pack Billy.
Man, this guy.
He's done it all. He's done it all.
Unbelievable. By the way, you were right. I have not seen Manhattan.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
I don't know. It's a good one. I like it.
I'm on it.
All right. This week, I'm going to do a little something different with the supporter song.
It's going to be melodic, well thought out, and beautiful.
Well, it's up to you because you're going to whisper in my ear what you think I should sing for the Patreon song.
Oh, man, I'm going to ruin
live
you.
and on camera.
I don't know.
You got to think of something fast.
No, I've got one, but I don't know
Okay.
if you can sing.
All right,
if you know
hit
it.
me.
Let me take my mic off.
Oh, yeah. Let me take my mic off, too.
What if I wrote it on? Oh, no, I just do this. Screw that.
Yeah, write it on your phone.
Okay.
That's better.
Play some intermission music. I don't think you've done this. I hope not. My God. Okay, stop with the music. Ignore this lunch order.
I'm going to sing Hot Ham and Cheese.
Okay. This is a lunch.
Oh,
Okay.
You're already giving it away.
And then the song will be, and I'm not going to write it all.
I've already done that.
Okay, I got another one.
I don't know that one.
Okay, I got another one.
Okay.
Let me think of another one here. You're killing me here. Okay, I'm gonna switch base. Ignore that one.
Okay.
Let's go to this, and we're gonna go. Have you done that?
All right, got it.
Bam. I'm giving you a softball here, Boat.
You are. All Here we go.
I know this one.
Decker 3, Wood Gary Heather, Free Lunch Kate Fox, David Pickford, Cameron Armstrong, Andy Jones, Lobsterminator, Craig McClellan, 10-Minute Amiga, Retrocast, Counting Virtual Sheep, Bernard Quinn, Retro Man Cave, Tim Drew, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Letter, Rob O'Hara, Howard Nibbs, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig Shanzo, Darren Lomax, Colin 419, Barkbit, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Dan, Ross Leaf Kilon, Alan Kebab, Checote, Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Dead Boy Figgy Dizzy, The Slow Norris, Stafford Sorgord Martinson, Ed Van Hell and Blender 75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Foles, Dreamcatcher, Laurent Giroux, Graham Vebke, Lane Denson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro Vintage, Gary Hucker, C. Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Doug Stiles, Tapes from the Crypt, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rolla, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim Tommy Humberstead, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warrens, Pixels at Dawn, and Kjolbjorn Barman.
Everyone's gonna get that one.
Yeah, I hope so. It was so good.
I should have picked something much more diabolical.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Starting with next week, you're going to be choosing the songs.
You're getting awful brave, Mister. I'm going to do this on the fly without any forethought.
That's how we do it. That's the best way to do it.
That sounds great. I'll go pick the crap out of some songs.
All right. So, Aaron, next week we are going to play Dogfight 1 versus 1 and Jump and Roll. That's right. It's PD week here on the Amigos Everything Amiga podcast.
Public Domania 7?
Right.
Bigger, better, better. Now, we played Dogfight.
We played Dogfight on the last Amigathon.
We gave both these a whirl.
And I think we did Jump and Roll 2 years ago on the Amigathon.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
The Amigathon exposes us some of this new stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Not that new, is it? Sounds good to me.
All right, guys. Thanks as always for watching and or listening. We'll be back next week with the new episode. Until then, adios.
What did we get, about 20 hours there?
We went an hour, like an hour 10.
Seemed like we went for.
It was a long show.
We bullshitted just for like the.
Yeah, for
our
like
stream died. And
yeah. Well, it's back now. No, it was just the internet. Just Suddenlink just cut out, and now it's back.
All right, let's knock this other one out here, shall we? This should be a much quicker episode. Do you have your pre-show question ready?
Oh yeah, I've got everything ready.
By the way, Bad at Hell would have been a horrible choice. I thought about it because the first 10 minutes it was instrumental.
It's like doing November Rain.
Yeah. Yeah. You put me on the spot. Now,
Next week he'll be ready.
Yeah, I got plenty. I wish I'd had you do Octopus's Garden.
Well, we got plenty of time. All right, here we go. Oh, no, we don't.
Oh, welcome to Amigos. We're covering the spectrum this week.
Yeah.
You dumb.
I might have to redo everything, too. Let's see.
Nigel Split. But I don't have a whole lot on this.
That's all right. We'll just do whatever you've got.
I did play it a lot. It was after playing. Trust me, this got played a lot just because of the other game. I was like, let's just switch over and play that some more.
This is just a nightmare. Like all of the video, like it's because whenever you unplug something, it resets everything. Do you keep all your stuff plugged in for ARG?
I don't do the production on the fly.
Oh, that's right.
and you know one of the reasons I don't do the production is I sit here with you and see you go ah.
Well, normally it's fine, but you know I usually set up before you get here, but that wasn't an option this time. Because once I'm done.
I didn't think this shirt through for this show. I guess we're still the Amigos.
Yeah. This is Amigos Retro Gaming.
I don't know if that was going to be... I don't know. I guess that was an okay show, wasn't it? I mean, I did the best I could. I really did. I made a sincere effort this week.
I think it was fine.
I hope people at least can give me that. You know, it's just, those games, I have a good grasp. You know, the Advance Wars, I never play any of those. It's not my thing.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now I do a little bit of this.
Hopefully Tree's putting look to bed right now. God.
Not going to be too much longer before he's going to have to start getting up early.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
You know, he's had a good summer, though. I mean, he's had a good summer. He's had a good time.
He'll be taking the pool down.
I've got to get back on the diet. I've been reverting.
It's hard. It's hard to get on once you've come off.
Part of it is just bad luck. You know, I'll tell you something else. I've been between the charity and the battery going bad in my car and some other expenses. I'm aching for the next paycheck. I'm like, man. So there's one way to lose weight. Just don't have any money. I just spent $100 and some bucks on freaking groceries. It's like, oh god.
Yeah.
Killing me, man. There's a game. I was going over I did. In fact, I mentioned you. I was like, boy, Bo's gonna like this episode because I put two big lists in this thing, which I deleted one in post. But one of the lists was like all exclusive European games, and there was a game called. It was like Ride Aboard the SS Lucifer. Or something like that. And I thought to myself, I told Brent, I was like, who would board the SS Lucifer? Was the SS Hitler in dry dock? That's a game.
Yeah, that's a poor choice.
And you know, Brent told me after the show, he goes, you probably shouldn't have mentioned Hitler. I'm like, come on. It was Lucifer.
Yeah.
You can't, everyone's so sensitive, you can't mention nothing now, or otherwise and I can understand why I didn't cut it, but I had two lists, though, the list of all those games, and I had a list of all the people in that cartoon or the game I covered, and I cut that out. I was like, well, that's too much. Because we went, on these two horrible games, we went an hour and 8 minutes. I'm like, I gotta at least cut some of this out, so I cut it down to an hour 2.
I'm glad you're still with us, Angus. You're the only one, I think, made it through the great streaming incident of...
Hey, Angus, where are you at again, brother?
He's in Scotland.
He's in, well, I didn't.
He's in Aberdeen.
I know that is Aberdeen.
Yeah.
That's where I was okay.
He does not like rosé wine. You totally botched that. He said he hated it, and you're like, he loves it.
That's what I read, pal. I'd had a lot of wine that night, you know what I mean?
That's true. All right, you ready to kick this thing off?
Does that offend him as a Scotsman? To say
no. Just don't say anything about his kilt.
Listen.
Look at this. I got some kind of, I don't know if this is a mosquito bite on my knuckle.
You shouldn't have held hands. You shouldn't have held hands with me.
Yeah. But I mean, who gets a mosquito bite on their knuckle like that? That's weird.
Knuckle dragger.
That's true. I have been dragging it through the grass.
Yeah. Hey, Graham's with us.
Hey, Graham.
Oh, man, at work. Well, you know, what can you do? Graham's been working his tail off. I know
Yeah,
that.
he has.
I'm glad somebody's doing that.
All right. Here we go.
I'm not ready.
All right. We're not going.
I'm not physically ready.
I got to move this stuff out of the way. I can't wait to get the new supporter magnets in.
Did you hear me choking at the end of that episode? I was just dying.
Were you?
Yeah, because I'm just a blabbing idiot. I was at work today and I had an epiphany. You know what it was? I'll sit around. I talk to my partner all the time, right? And it occurred to me that I would just sit there and talk just to hear the melodic sounds of my own voice.
Your dulcet tones.
No, I'm the worst. I pity people that have to hang out with me. I really do. I feel sorry for all the people that know me. Because here comes loudmouth, nonstop, motor mouth jerk Aaron, who will just talk about anything, just has something to talk about. I complain about the radio, the cover of what's on the radio, what's that smell in the hall. You
hit all the hits.
Where are all the good boxes? I don't have enough boxes I can steal and take home. What'd you do? What'd you have for dinner? Was your wife what you cook you this time? Anything. Because I can't stand nothing that be happening.
That's why you're on this show. That's why this show exists.
Oh, because I'm a blabby jerk.
Think about Rush Limbaugh. You think he sits at home being quiet all the time? No. When he stops the show, he continues to talk for the rest of the day.
He's got a staff of goobers that write up interesting stuff to talk about. Like for me.
That's what this is.
That is, but I'm my own goober.
Well,
yeah, but if
Rush was his own goober at first.
You can't trust me.
You're going to turn into the next Rush.
Oh,
well, I didn't mean it that way. But I
can't stand that guy.
You're going to have the golden EIB microphone.
Oh God! Can't we have the golden ARG microphone?
There you go, the golden ARG microphone. That's something I need to tell Duncan to get on, an animated golden ARG microphone.
Man, those animations we got. I mean, I feel like King Dong.
I know, amazing.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
I got it. All the information. This game warranted 2 sheets.
Okay. See, Angus says you're perfect for podcasting.
Thank you, Angus. Maybe I should move to Scotland.
You should.
I think I could get over there.
I think you'd get over like Madhouse.
Yeah, I dig that. I dig the whole Scottish thing. Beautiful country. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, what we should do next year when we go to Ireland, we'll just turn into you just take a month off work. Just tell them you're taking a sabbatical. You're going to research.
Who needs money?
You're going to research the breathalyzers in Europe, and you write a grant so they pay for you to do that.
They're not buying that. I can tell you that right now.
Have you?
Listen, you couldn't pull that trick. How do you think I'm going to pull it off with the state?
I bet if I worked,
how cheap
worked really hard, I could finagle a grant to let me go to Europe for a month to study music education.
From who?
From the State Board of Education.
Well, I can tell you right now.
That's why I'm telling you, the Kentucky State Police, they've got grant money coming out the yin-yang.
But see, I'm not a policeman. I'm just a scrub. They don't give a crap about me.
What about, you're a technician. You're a highly prized asset.
Listen, I am highly prized.
See?
Because...
You're the only one that can do, think about, if you quit, they'd have to train somebody that probably would be worse than you at your job.
See, the thing is, you haven't seen the other people at my job, which squelches that theory right there, including me. They hired me. How hard can it be?
No, they only hired you because Larry put in a good word for you. That's how hard it is to get in there.
Larry. Enough said. Yeah. Would you send that guy to Europe on a sabbatical?
I'd be worried he wouldn't come back.
You've been Uncle Larry. Ooh, Edinburgh. Fancy.
Yeah, see? He's going to Scotland. Graham's gonna live the life in Amiga, Ireland. He's going up there. You're going up there earlier too, right? Aren't you going? You're to do a little stuff before Amiga Ireland and then after. Of course, you're also traveling like 6 times the distance of everybody else, so you got to make it worth your while.
I travel a lot. And I'm just not a traveler. I don't guess. I don't know.
Well,
it's always money and time. I just never have it, man. Stuff's expensive.
It is. It is.
Well, on that happy note.
All right, here we go.
I never owned a Cobra either.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Our Sinclair. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about Miami Cobra GT.
No. You don't say it like that. You say Miami Cobra GT. You need to build this up. That's awesome.
Do you know what
it's a Cobra.
Do you know what GT stands for?
Getting tough.
Get tough. Like Yo-Joe.
Yeah, man.
Got to get tough. I think it stands for Grand Touring.
Listen, look at the name of this car.
Mm-hmm.
Cobra.
It really hits all 3 high points. You got
That's
Miami.
Right.
City of Lights.
Yeah. City of Lights.
Is that not Miami?
No.
You've got Cobra. Enough said.
Enough said.
Snake. Gonna bite you. And GT.
Yeah.
Anytime you put any 2 letters after a car, it's the awesome model.
It's like SE.
Right.
Or something.
Yep.
I love just the name.
Get yourself
of this.
a Toyota Camry SE. You're rolling.
Because when they thought of the name for this, right? They're like, listen, we need a car that's going to appeal to young men.
Yes.
All right. Now, what do young men like? They like hot bikini women.
Right.
Right.
There's your Miami.
They like awesome, killer animals.
Yep.
And then like a couple random initials at the end. Bam.
It's a marketing dream.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
'Cause can you imagine if it was Hurricane, West Virginia, Pinto, RX? No good. No one gives a crap
except for the
that.
RX part. Maybe get some
In
pills
West Virginia,
out of it.
it'd be great. That's why I put that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the name, just right out of the gate, great name.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's the fanciest car you've ever driven in? Or, I mean, you didn't have to drive, but ever been in, like, and actually rolling down the street?
My old boss at the computer place had a collection of Jaguars. And I have ridden in, I take that back. He had a car, it was a touring car, it was British. He only dealt in European imports. It was called the Ghost.
It's a Ghost? That's a Rolls Royce.
That's right. That's what it was.
Wow.
This thing, you felt like King Dawn.
That's amazing.
In this car.
That's a high dollar vehicle.
The boss is a millionaire.
Yeah.
He made the big money. Now, I did not make any money at this job.
He didn't give you the Ghost?
One thing I learned about rich people from working at this job, now I can't say all rich people are like this, but this guy built himself up. He was a car dealer, and he still was when I left. He worked all the time, and he was the cheapest man I've ever met. Even Jack Benny would have been like, "You're the man." This guy was cheap, brother, but he printed out his wife's birthday card at work. He just downloaded some pictures and printed it out. He wasn't going to spend 50 cents on this birthday card. He took her to Wendy's. I'm serious.
Wow.
This guy was cheap.
But yet he owned several Jaguars and a Rolls Royce.
30.
Wow.
He bought a shipment of these things. He had a ton of them. But yeah, that's a nice car. What about you?
I've been in a DeLorean before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I've been cruising around that. That was cool because as we were rolling down the road, we opened up the doors and gave the chicks the high sign as we were rolling by.
You open the doors.
Yeah. You open the doors while you're rolling.
To me.
Yeah, it probably was not.
Now these are the gull wing doors.
Yeah, this is the Back to the Future.
These aren't
car.
the ones where they eventually made it where the outside door fold up.
Yeah, they're not scissor doors. They're the full gull wings.
The problem with those gull wings is when you go to a parking lot.
Yeah.
And you're bummed.
Yeah, you can't get out.
You have to double park basically.
Yeah. Well, that just adds to the status,
And then again, if you're going to DeLorean, I remember I was at a Walmart or something. And a sucker drove up in a DeLorean, or they were actually there. And I got out I was with Luke. I was like, Luke, look at that car. And he goes, what is it? I was like, that's a DeLorean. He was like, oh, he'd never seen one before. And so we walked over to look at it. Well, I looked, and there was like 10 people over there. And here come the people out of the store that own it. And they're sort of laughing, and we're like, man, it's a great car. He said, yeah, it's like this happens just everywhere we go. Like everyone
that
sees
would be
this
awesome.
Car. Yeah.
I'd love to drive something that just made people smile.
The funny thing is, when I pull it with my various cars, it's the exact opposite. People run away in terror, and they get cops to make sure this thing can legally be driven. It's so bad, So yeah, it would be a different switch.
Yeah, I think that I was thinking about buying a Bentley.
You were?
Yeah, because you can get Bentleys for like 18 to 30 grand.
Oh, sure.
Which is, it's not, that's still expensive, but it's not. A Bentley new's 500 grand. What I've learned is that an oil change for a Bentley is 4 figures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it uses special oil, and to get into where the oil is held, you need special tools that the mechanics hold onto very tightly. So, and when something goes wrong on a Bentley, you can easily spend the purchase price, that 18 to 30 grand, fixing it.
So really, to own one of those, you need to be good at fixing cars.
Well, no, you just need to be incredibly wealthy.
Oh, I see.
If you buy one new and you get the factory warranty, you're in good shape, except for the fact that you spent $500,000. But once these things are out of warranty, you can pick them up for a song. And what happens is people that own car dealerships next to the airport, people fly in from the Middle East, buy them, take them back to the Middle East, and then they roll around as that's all the status symbol stuff over there. So I thought that was interesting.
The flip side of that is I have bought a car. I've had a $400 car and a $200 car. I drove both these cars to the end of their life, and both were purchased from me for a similar price when I bought them. I'm talking, I drove forever. I had a Chevy Nova, and a Citation. I drove the crap out of these cars because it's a Dowdy tradition to drive until they're in the dirt. We've never had a car named after any animal, and it never was based in any cool town. Everything we've had, I bet you've never had a car that was just a letter and 3 numbers after it either. I never had. Are you kidding me?
E350 or something like that.
When you're talking about spending 18 to 30 grand for a car, I can't even. I can't even fathom spending that much money. It's beyond.
Well,
my
here's what
ability
you
to
do.
comprehend.
You don't build a building in the back of your, property to put your arcade
that
games
was
in.
nowhere near that much money.
But no, and then you combine that with the price of your vehicle. There you go.
No, that's nowhere close.
And then don't build the fence, and then don't get your air conditioning fixed, and then sell your house. And then you'll be approaching the 18 to 30
you live
grand.
in the car.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy.
Now, what you do is you go into hock. You go into debt.
Yeah, you do.
And
I'll tell you what I do is I go into hock, and then I pay an exorbitant interest rate, and then I never recover, and then I just feel guilty all the time.
This is for me who considered a Bentley, already has considered buying yachts.
True.
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 High drag. VR setups, cameras, you had it all, hot tubs, everything. A Bentley for you is like that's a normal day.
It's just one other thing.
That must be awesome.
It is. I live the life of a champion.
Who knew that the Winfield Middle School band director would be making that kind of brick?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, when I look out upon my vast piles of cash, it staggers the imagination.
Yeah. Is that what's behind that door?
That's exactly what's behind that door. That's why I don't let you go back there. So, Aaron, let's talk a little bit about the actual game, Miami Cobra GT.
Oh, man.
It's funny, whenever I say the word Miami, my grandfather, my dad's dad, is from Kentucky, and I guess there's a Miami, Kentucky.
There's a Miami, West Virginia.
And he always says Miami.
Yeah.
It's like with an AH at the end.
Yeah, I know the Miami, West Virginia is out near Cabin Creek.
Is it?
Yeah, I've been out there many times.
It must be off the interstate.
There ain't much going on there, let's put it that way. So, Miami Cobra GT.
Mm-hmm.
Year of release, 1991, of course. That's when you would release a game like that. This was published by Players Software, Boat. These guys, and all these guys had a pretty long list of stuff. I just picked out a couple that sounded cool or I'd heard of. They were responsible for Crime Busters. Denizen, Deviants. Those are two different games.
Okay. Wasn't sure if that was an adjective or two nouns.
Skateboard. That's all you need. And Tomcat. A couple fellas put this together. I think it was one guy that did the game, and then another guy rolled in and did the cool the load screen, which is awesome, I might add. The author of this, and his name is in the game. He made sure that it's right up in there. His name is Nigel Spiat. You want to try that?
I think it's Spate.
Spate?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you might be right, Bo, now that I look at it. This guy he did a lot of stuff, including some of these. We've got BMX Ninja.
Oh, man. Fire that up.
Committee, get on that.
This episode's over.
BMX Ninja. Cyrus 2, Loco, Slicks, Trap, Traz, War Machine, Slicks, on and on. It goes on and on and on. Peter Frith, who, like I said, I think he did the cool scene for this. He was responsible for another game called Chevy Chase. Not Chevy Chase. Chevy. Like a car.
How do you know?
Chase. Because I looked at the picture, and it was a Chevy.
Maybe
being chased. It was Chevy Chase not involved. There's a place called Chevy Chase.
And it's in Maryland.
Yeah, I've been through it. Neither one of those involved. This was available on the 48 or the 128K. They're both the same. They work on both. And this was a one-player game. It had very good control interface that you got to. You got all your usual joystick options plus definable keys. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny when you think about that stuff. Why every game should have it. And I will say most Spectrum games we played have had that.
They're very good at that.
Yeah. Now get this, Boat. I always love this. I love this. Original price of the sucker, £2.99, a great price. That's about $5 American.
Yeah, that's a steal.
Man, why did we get in on some of that? I mean, I'd go to Radio Shack. The games cost a fortune. You weren't getting nothing for $5.
Here's I believe the reason why is because computer games had a much wider distribution in England. They were sold at Boots, which is like it's like Rite Aid, like you could buy computer games everywhere.
Yeah.
And aside from maybe in those pre-Atari 2600 days before the crash, maybe you could do that, but I never saw computer games for sale outside of either department stores like Kmart or specialty boutiques like, your EB or something like that.
I will say, Odyssey games, you bought at JCPenney.
Okay.
So that's probably a place you probably wouldn't have expected to see it.
No.
And then, of course, in the old days, the Atari 600 stuff, of course, you had Sears. Had them.
But Sears was, they sold everything.
When it comes to like the Coco, for example, which I sort of equate the Specky to the Coco, you weren't getting Coco games anywhere except Radio Shack. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you ordered them from the back of the magazines. You had one area. And Odyssey was the same way. You went to JCPenney, and there was a bunch of service merchandise, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. So to be able to go down to the Rite Aid and pick up a game, that'd be odd.
I think newsstands had them. I remember reading in Retro Gamer where they'd have a little stand, right there on the newsstand. You could buy games, and because the distribution it's just cassette, you could pump these things out by the 10,000.
Yeah, and we've played a lot of these sort of cheapo games, and a lot of them are good.
Yeah,
that's what irritates me, because I would buy games that were just absolute crap.
Right. Right.
So we're gushing over it. But I mean, this is one of the reasons I like the Spectrum. You get a lot of bang for your buck on these games. So let's talk about Miami Cobra. I had to write some stuff down off the box, off the cartridge, because I love these. This is great. So this is some of the glorious text that was.
I can't wait to hear the glorious text.
Okay, outrun. So say just that first word, outrun. Outrun even the fastest competitors in this incredibly realistic 3D parallax scrolling road racing arcade simulation. That's one sentence.
Wow.
Burn up the tarmac as you screech your way around 4 grueling circuits in your turbocharged Cobra GT.
That's fantastic.
There's exclamation points to beat the band. Now there's more. Here's the other side. It's Miami. It's a Mustang Cobra GT.
Yeah, it is.
2 liters of throbbing metal power. A mean machine. You're at the wheel. A cool guy in a hot machine. The sun beats down over the sand, the surf, and the palm trees. It's time to stop cruising the boulevards. It's time to burn up the tracks. You've been challenged, and you must meet the challenge in head-to-head road racing against your competitors and the clock. Don't hang around. Hit the turbocharge. Hit the brakes. Slide your Cobra GT round the sharp bends. Above all, winning is the name of the game.
See, let me tell you about what the Spectrum has over something like the Amiga. In the Amiga, your games came in a box.
Yeah.
Which means that you could produce page after page of meaningless drivel.
Yeah.
With the Spectrum, you had to cut right to the chase because you're writing on the back of the cassette.
I'm going to tell you this, and I say this totally real. This is the best thing I've ever read.
It's a fantastic. This makes me
want to get up, go out and get in my car, and just burn my way down to Florida right now.
It's amazing.
I love it.
It's so evocative.
Oh, man.
And, for people living in Britain in the 80s, back before, international travel was as big of a thing as it is now, I'm sure that Miami was a very, very exotic locale.
Yes. I would love to film a commercial for this game. Just read that.
Not to mention the fact that, Miami PI was in Hawaii, but Miami Vice, that was still pretty contemporary.
Plus, Miami's as exotic as it gets in the mainland America,
Oh, yeah,
I guess.
absolutely.
Awesome. So, first of all, this game, it says a lot with its very first words, outrun. So, now, it's not totally outrun. It's a mix. But what you've got here is, it's your classic scrolling racing game. I mean, it's
pole position.
It's pole position. It's you got a one gear, low and high. I mean, you got 2. You flip between them, and you drive down these tracks. That's all there is to it. It's got different tracks, and each one of them have a different color, right? And in fact, we're watching the video as we talk about it. This is my favorite looking one.
Yeah,
it's a green track with
with the sunset.
It looks awesome. Some of the tracks are not as attractive.
Yeah.
In fact, none of the tracks are that attractive. So you've got 8 levels to compete in, and each level has 4 stages. Now, I don't know how far you got in this game.
I beat the first stage. I could not beat the second stage.
I beat the first stage, and I could not beat the second stage as well. So we weren't even really that close, were we? The car, it's a Cobra GT. Okay, I mean, they could tell me it was a Bimpo 5 million. It just looks like I can't tell.
The '80s Mustangs definitely had a look. You can always tell them because they had that plastic windscreen or the plastic windshield screen on the back. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So that's how you can tell it's sort of an
plastic. You mean the spoiler?
No, this is the thing that was sitting on the back of the window, the back of the rear window.
That they always got broke.
They always
got broke on those things. So in this game, the controls are simple. It's a left and right. You've got a high and low gear, and you've got turbo.
Yeah.
You got to have the turbo. And I'm telling you, of course, I played this on the keyboard as I always do.
I was unable to use the joystick with this. I fired this up. Yeah, I fired this up in Spectaculator, and anytime I'd push the button, the game would reset. So I don't know.
Spectaculator is?
That's the Spectrum emulator that I always
use. Did you
use.
actually try this on the Speccy?
I did not fire this up on the Spectrum. I just played it emulated because I wanted to do both the 48 and the 128K versions.
I mean, I thought they were the same. The
128K version has much better sound.
Really? I didn't even try that. I just tried. The most basic
There's a
one.
song at the beginning that's awesome on the 128K version,
man, I can't
and
wait
the
to try
engine
that.
sounds actually are pretty good. They sound like a C64.
Mine I just played the plain Jane version. But it plays again. We've played a couple.
Gameplay wise, is exactly the same.
Remember when we played? Was it Chase HQ? Mm-hmm. Like this, I like this much more.
Me too. It's a much better playing game.
This is a game that I didn't absolutely suck at.
Yeah.
This game is a lot more playable to me. What do you compare this to? It's almost sort of like a Lotus sort of affair.
It runs. I mean, I'm not going to. Nobody's going to say this thing looks and plays like Lotus.
No.
But I have a hard time believing you could get any closer to that kind of experience in this game. On the Spectrum, I mean.
It runs, as usual, we're always impressed with the way the Spectrum handles a game of speed.
Mm-hmm.
You get a good feeling of your movement. Now, color clash, full effect.
Sure.
All
of the images are wireframe.
Yeah, every level everything's basically see-through. Mm-hmm. And some of the level of color choices, I mean, I will say I like the fact that they do have choices. So
and I like the fact that it changes every.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that way you it helps.
And you talked about. I mean, I agree with you. The one with the sunset is attractive, but the other ones are not bad. Like the one we're watching now, it's sort of like a dusk. Where you've got the gray scenery, and then it kind of goes from light blue to dark blue.
Yeah,
that's not ugly.
This reminded me. I mean, it controls like pole position, but what it reminded me of was sort of like it reminded me a little bit like Turbo. If you ever played Turbo, it's like a little bit better looking in terms of the actual
car and scenery.
I mean, it's like Turbo is better looking in some ways. This is better looking in some ways, but they're similar. And
the car definitely looks better.
And what's different to me from pole position and certainly Outrun is the fact that there are way more cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like pole position, you're not going to run into that many cars.
But here's the thing: when you run into a car in this game, it's not insta death.
Right,
like
but I mean, there's just
position.
a lot more traffic.
Yeah,
in Turbo, you hit a lot more traffic.
Well, this is a street racing simulator,
right?
There
are different. There's scenery. You go through cities, and you go out in the country. Presumably, you're out in our fields or whatever. Did I get a Miami vibe from the scene? Not really.
Oh, I did totally. Those high rises, the palm trees.
On, that could be anywhere.
Are there palm trees in this? I might have just imagined
I don't remember seeing any palm trees or the ocean.
I think that this is just. I got the Miami vibe, and the colors help a lot too. The sunset, all the gradient.
Yeah, I guess when you switch, like there aren't a lot of pastoral fields in southern Florida near Miami.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that this is. I would pass this off as a reasonable facsimile of Miami.
Listen. I would have paid £3 for the box,
just for that paragraph.
I can read that occasionally.
Yeah,
that
was
great.
New.
That's my new message on my phone. I'm just gonna read that. The fact is that it's a basic racing game. I have some of the Coco very similar. Basic game. Here's the difference. It plays fine. It looks fine. Presumably, it sounds fine on the version you played, and it's perfectly playable, and it runs well, and it's fun. And it was £3.
Right.
No said.
Right.
It's a heck of a bargain. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought the picture, the loading screen was cool looking. It gave you the feeling of what the vibe of what the game was going for. I have no qualms. I thought the whole thing was top shelf.
Yeah, me too.
And I didn't have any trouble running. I emulated, of course. I don't have a Spectrum yet, but I emulated it, ran with no problem. I always play with the keyboard. And the good thing about playing a game like this with the keyboard is you've got easy access to that turbo button, turbo space bar, hit that sucker. I was turboing left and right. The good thing about having the turbo is not to help you go further and be further ahead. It's when you screw up.
Right. It's your fail safe. Right.
That's when you punch that turbo, and it makes a big difference if you're struggling. You can hit that thing a couple times, I believe the limit on each level, I think you can only hit the turbo button. Is it 6 or 8 times?
You have a certain amount, and it counts it down on the left side, I think.
Yeah, everything's heads up, so you have no trouble. You've got your speed.
Yeah, that's another great thing about this game. You've got the map. I mean, think about how many games we've played that don't feature that map up there in the corner.
Yeah,
like that. The overlay there, all your information is on the HUD, and they don't letterbox it like they do in some other titles where they put it outside the action. They overlay it. I like that a lot. I mean, this is a fantastic. Again, for £3, I don't see how you could do much better than this.
Did you notice that the speed was in miles per hour?
Yeah,
because you're in Miami, right? You get an American car,
right? I think in England they still use miles sometimes too. Yeah, I noticed that when I was over there. Sometimes you still hear miles creep into the conversation.
Well, if you put kilometers up there, we'd be clueless. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Overall, a solid title. I mean, it's funny. I just review. I've reviewed a lot, or not reviewed. But
you can say review.
I'll never say it. I've looked at several games in the past week. Okay. And way more complex than this, and all looked better. Okay, all of them. There's something. I'm a sucker for a simple game like this. I just can't help myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to sit down and just play the game.
What's great is you can put on some synth wave or whatever kind of music you want and just really just zone out and play this thing. It's great.
I'm sure people listen to this show and they're like, "Listen, this blowhard. He's putting these old games over. Look at this thing." So, man, I feel bad for killing something that's people spend a lot more time on. But I mean, I just can't help my nature. And when it comes to these simple games like these race games, I just love them. I eat them up.
Yeah.
Or a simple platform or simple fighting, I just can't stand it. I love them. So, a big enthusiastic thumbs up for me on this, and I'm guessing you as well.
Did the reviews concur?
No.
Oh.
The reviews didn't. This was, from what I can tell, this was sort of considered middle of the road. So the people over at World of Spectrum gave this a 7.37. Computer and video games gave it a 72%. Crash gave it 78. Sinclair user 81. I mean, and I'll admit, this is a no frills racer.
Sure.
It's no frills. But unless you count the text, that's a frill to me. But otherwise, it's just a game. You just sit down and race this, and it's fun.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
If you want to race, if you don't want to worry about pit stops or finding your way or capturing people, any of that crap, you just want to play a game where you're just running around in a hot car. Is your game.
Absolutely. We had a couple of Discord reviews. Graham W. Vebke says, this game has a WEC Le Mans and Crazy Cars feel to it and is very well animated, giving the game a real sense of speed. There's some wild color palettes here and the horizon's kind of boring, and at times the games can look quite monochrome. But that's probably my only criticism other than the no music in the game. The sound is typical ZX Spectrum style,
there it is,
but it's not annoying. The car controls really well. You can corner quite nicely and overtake other vehicles fairly easily as they don't move around and change lanes, and you don't feel like you're driving a tank. A really great racing game, 8 out of 10. And Chris Fold says Miami Cobra is a relatively undiscovered gem of a Spectrum racing game. Great use of colors, super fast-paced action with great controls, a fun and simple racing game. 8 out of 10. So
wow.
Discord liked it too.
You know, before we roll on, you know, the Spectrum Next is still on the horizon.
Hovering somewhere.
And I've heard a lot of discussion on what games you're going to play on this thing. You know, and so I submit this to you. We just played as basic a racing game as you could probably find outside of like the over-the-head racing games from the old Atari days.
Right.
Can you release a game like this on this Spectrum and expect to? I mean, are people going to buy these games anymore?
Okay, you can stop right there. Are people going to buy games for the Spectrum when the Spectrum's released? You can stop right there. We don't know.
I guess I want you to speculate. Well, is a game like this something that can be marketed and sold in 2019?
Oh, absolutely. Horizon Chase Turbo. Have you ever heard of that game?
I've played that.
That game is this game.
Well,
it's a simple racing game. Simple graphics.
It's way more advanced in terms of the way it looks than this.
Well, I mean, yes, but it's still at its core.
I guess take the game out of it. Can simple games like that are like this, simple but fun games, which I think is what drove the Spectrum to a certain degree, right? do people still, and not old people like me, but can younger people, can they still be enamored with games like that? I mean, obviously.
Oh, sure. The equivalent of that is on the mobile, like all of those endless runner games.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this game is.
Do you think we're going to see that sort of thing when the next comes out?
Oh, I guarantee you we're going to see a game that looks like Miami Cobra GT. Like it'll probably be more fully fleshed out because you're dealing with a more advanced system, and people are looking to make some bucks on whatever they sell. So they're going to put forth a little bit more effort. But I guarantee you're going to see a game that looks like this or Chase HQ or Lotus, one of those types of games.
Because I was pondering this the other day. I'm not getting the next. I can't afford it next. It'd be fun to have. If you were to take some of the games we've looked at, and we've looked at quite a few now, and I'm going to say Chaos is a good example, or a game like this, or even a game like this, and you don't have to go crazy, but if you just modernize, say, in Chaos, modernize the interface, modernize the menu system. Okay, for example, leave it because it sort of has been done,
right?
But still, it's in the Spectrum style.
Sure, you don't want to change the graphics.
That's right. I mean, you could take out the color clash, something like that. But I mean, I think you got something. If you
Absolutely.
I think that's the way this machine should be marketed. We took the games you love, we used the extra power that we've got to modernize the menus, the interface. Maybe you play Cobra GT with your buddy, right?
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then you unleash these things and see how you do. I think that's the crowd you're looking at. You're not going to win over the guys that are going to play Metal Gear or something, or Gears of War. You want those guys that are. I hope that's at least some of the direction.
I think that's what they're counting on.
Awesome.
We got a new podcast review this week, Aaron.
Okay. Oh.
This is from our buddy Matt Neo MK from the UK.
Okay.
Okay. He says, just found your podcast. Nice to hear a new dedicated Specky podcast. Being a Brit, real shame you missed it back in the day. Arguably the biggest selling microcomputer in the UK from 82 to 86, with only the C64 offering serious competition. For great games, pick anything from Ultimate Play the Game, Hewson, and many US Gold titles who made great arcade conversions. And he goes on to list a bunch of recommendations that I'll check out. He says, keep up the good work, and I look forward to hearing about many more games. Thanks, Matt Holiday, UK. So
very nice. This was on this was a Apple review,
an iTunes review. Yeah,
outstanding.
So if you enjoy our Sinclair and haven't yet left us an iTunes review, that really helps us get discovered because all the podcast players use the iTunes recommendation engine to surface new podcasts to people. So if you could leave us a review, we'd really appreciate it. Also, if you'd like to support our Sinclair and throw us a couple bucks a month, there's a lot in it for you, the listener. You get access to our Discord channel, which is tons of talk all the time. We were talking about on Amigos how I really feel like the Discord channel recaptures some of that early internet magic, either through BBS or the early days of Usenet and the forums where you really felt like you knew people. It wasn't like a social media Sinclair group where people are just posting random stuff. You get to know these people and you get to know where they're from, their community, what they're into. We talk about all kinds of stuff. There's tons of channels within our channel. And because it's sort of a closed community, it's limited. It's not just anybody on there. And like I said, I've met some really great friends. I really consider them friends, through the Discord.
Oh yeah, you see every sort of crazy vacation, all people's different projects that they're working on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of brilliant people in there, way smarter than us. And they're very interesting. And you learn a lot about different areas. It's just great. I love it. I would never have guessed either. I love it. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, and of course, if you are a Spectrum supporter and you got to get on with at least 4 months to go before the end of the year. So you got to get on in August if you want in on this. In December at Christmas time, I send out the official Spectrum supporter magnet, which is super awesome. You can see that on our Patreon page, patreon.com/OurSinclair. And if you really want to live among the giants, join up with Clive's Club. The Clive's Club team selects the game that we play each and every week. So if there's a game you want us to cover, that's the fastest way to get us to feature it on the show is join up on the Clive's Club level.
They've done a great job.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up, I actually went back and played a little bit more Lords of Chaos over the week. That's a game what we were just talking about. If you could modernize the interface, I think that is that game there's a lot of fun there to be had, I think. Mm-hmm. You know, and the more I play it, the more I get into it.
I'm wondering if it'll ever pop up. You know, it's on. They have an Amiga version. I wonder if we'll ever end up playing it on Amigos. I'd like to check it out. Yeah. We do want to thank all of our Spectrum supporters over on Patreon. We've got Laurent Giroux, Gary Heather, Eric Nelson, Harbonaut, Graham Vebke, Frodo NL, Tapes from the Crypt, Pixels at Dawn, Chris Folds, Paul Harrington, and Christopher Hassel. Thank you guys so much for supporting our Sinclair.
And a shout out to Jonas, who helped us with the magnets.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's right there on the chat.
He's in chat.
Yeah. So, next week, Aaron, we're going to play a shooter called, it's either Zynaps or Zynaps. Yes. I'm going to go with Zynaps.
I think it's Zynaps, but I don't know for sure. I have heard of this one, so that'll be great. We've played a couple of shooters. They've been okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to trying this one out.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you as always for listening. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Until then, rewind tape.
And press play.
All right.
You can see the passion for that game.
See if you can find that.
I'll get it. I
don't know where it went.
It just fell in my
Okay.
I'll get it.
All right. Good night, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for
guys.
staying up
Sorry
late and or early.
Angus and Jonas.
Angus, Jonas, Anthony,
Anthony.
Graham.
All of our buddies.